What's up, guys, and welcome to my Pick-Ems for the PGL Major Copenhagen 2024 playoffs. I haven't gotten very many right. Like, I've gotten 4 right, which is one off enough in both of the previous stages. So I think it's just so hard, honestly. This new system where you kind of have to go for actual 3-0 picks if you want, or I don't know. It has become so much more difficult. Also, you can see here, I didn't ever buy the pass. I didn't really feel like I needed to buy it. Because I guess you can make the picks anyways. You can already see, I guess, what I've been kind of playing around with. For some reason, it just doesn't let me unsave my picks. But yeah, let's just go over the pick'ems for this. I will then in the coming days I'll post my fantasy lineup. By the way, I did really well in the last stage. Barely, I think it's by 1 point I missed out on a 1% finish and only got the 2% finish, which is super unfortunate because I think it would have me like, especially after they did this kind of multiplier for that event in particular. There is a lot of points to be gained. I believe it's gonna be for this stage as well, so it's very important to do well in these events. I think in the total fantasy leaderboard now, I'm in like position 150 or something, so there's maybe an outside chance I can still make a push for that top 10. But that's gonna be the next video. I'll probably post it in a couple of days or so. Now let's focus on the Pick-Ems. Cloud9 Vitality, I think it's interesting because I think the ceiling for Vitality is so much higher than for Cloud9. They have the better players for the most part. They have Zaiwu. They have an actual AWPer. I think the pieces are better at Vitality, but they have looked very inconsistent now. I think the last few events I haven't been that convinced, whereas Cloud9 seems to be going upwards all the time in their performances. Axel is starting to look like an actual player now, like a really good player. But of course they don't have an AWPer. It's a hard one to predict. Also, is Vitality gonna step up in playoffs a bit more? I don't know. My gut tells me that Cloud9's gonna win this matchup. I don't really know why. I guess just the fact that they are in better form is the only actual explanation for it. They're in better form. They're actually looking like they're playing decent team Counter-Strike, whereas Vitality is struggling. So I'm gonna go with Cloud9. Team Spirit phase, so like no real surprises here. I think Spirit is just the biggest favorite going into this event. I think they're gonna win it. I think they're gonna win this first Counter-Strike 2 Major. FaZe has looked very kind of like Vitality. They have looked worryingly kind of shaky. They're kind of just happy to be in playoffs, I think, honestly. Of course, we know that FaZe Clan can step up in the playoffs. They've done it before where they've kind of struggled. They went LCQ and then won a major. But I don't know. I just think Spirit is looking so strong. I think they are kind of almost unstoppable going into this. I guess I'll spoil this as well. I think Spirit will win against Cloud9. Like, I think it's probably the even easier bet for me to make than the fact that Spirit is gonna beat FaZe Clan. I think they're just gonna win the event. Okay, they go into the finals. Then this side, so Eternal Fire Na'Vi is super interesting. So as a Na'Vi fan, of course, I'm hoping that Na'Vi wins. I think it's very possible for Na'Vi to make even finals here, like if they win this Eternal Fire matchup. But Eternal Fire have looked so strong. They've been in, like, they beat the last 3 major champions in their, like, in the last stage. They beat Vitality, FaZe Clan, and who else? Na'Vi? Who did they play against? FaZe Clan, Vitality, and another team. Either way, they beat the last 3 major champions in the last stage. Now I can't get it out of my head who's the last major winner. I can't get FaZe Clan, Vitality, and some team, whatever. Okay, probably Outsiders or VP. But okay, I think Eternal Fire's gonna win. They just have the momentum. Na'Vi look shaky, just like FaZe and Vitality, but I don't know, there's like pieces of Navi that I'm super confident in. Like JL is playing so well. I really like how Wonderful's playing. I like Alexi B's leading for the most part. That one overpass game was so horrible though against Cloud9. Like I still remember that last map and they played so bad. Ime has been very shaky this event, which is a shame to see because I think he was playing so much better before this event again. But yeah, he really needs to step up for Navi to have a good chance in this EF game. Because Eternal Fire, every piece is firing at full cylinder right now. Like every piece in Eternal Fire is playing super well. Even like Major in the Decider series is was he like even the highest rated player or something? Either way, everyone on Eternal Fire is playing super well, and Navi has Bit has also been struggling a bit, as well as Ime. So I would say Eternal Fire is slight. It's a pretty 50-50, but maybe Eternal Fire I would say is slight favorites. Mouse G2, I think G2 slightly fluked their way here. Of course, everyone knows what happened with James crashing in that crucial Inferno round, and apparently in interviews, G2 had already said that like Huxi had already kind of called that they're gonna save unless they get a pick early. So they wouldn't have gotten that pick, I'll tell you that much, onto James if he hadn't crashed. So I think it should be Vitality in that. It should be VP in that spot. And I also just don't think G2 is playing that well apart from a couple of the pieces. Whereas Mouse is playing super convincingly right now. Like they're not really they're not giving their opposition like much of a chance in a lot of games. There's just such good pieces there right now on Mouse. Torji was playing very well in the last stage. I probably won't pick Torji in the upcoming stage just because I think he's not really a playoffs player maybe. But then there's like Yimpat, who I'm super confident in. Like Zershan is playing really well. Chui for his like IGL level, of course, playing well, and Brolan is just very, very strong. Found his like old form in this lineup. There's no reason to doubt that Mouse could beat or should beat G2 in my eyes. And I also think they are gonna beat Eternal Fire. Just a better team, I guess, for now at least. Like I think the pieces are better. They have shown better results up until now. Eternal Fire have been super I'm super impressed by them, and I would not hate to see them go through, even though of course as a Finnish fan I am hoping for Yimpat to get further here. But yeah, I would say Mouse gets into the final, and then as I already kind of mentioned, I think Spirit is gonna win the finals. I think there's just too much firepower on that roster. But then again, like Mouse is the only team that has really beaten Spirit in the last few like months or so. So I would say there's a chance for Mouse to win, of course, but I would say Spirit. Like that's also crazy to think like Shuei was with Gamer Legion in the last major final, and now he, at least in my Pick-Ems, is making it again. He's starting to build a nice legacy for himself already. But yeah, I would say Spirit still wins this matchup. And picks are saved. I think that's it. As I said, fantasy video is coming probably a bit closer to the start of the playoffs. I think I'll need to think about my picks a bit more. I'll just kind of go over some lineups and what I think is who I think is most likely to show up in the playoffs. But I mean, based on this bracket, I think you can probably guess which kinds of teams I would probably target a bit more than others. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content and fantasy content in general from HLTV Fantasy, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.